Oh my God. Yes, tell me I'm awesome.
You're awesome.
Oh, thank you. You're the best. Okay. So I really like two things about what you say. Number one, the airplane thing, falling out of an airplane 50,000 feet. Like, hold on, it'll be over soon. And the other thing is when you say, oh, just don't talk about something and it'll go away. And I'm here, I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking, okay, Abraham, so you're telling me I'm in an airplane right now, so you're telling me to just jump out, and if I believe I'll land in Disneyland, then I'll land in Disneyland, or otherwise I'll just crash into a tree. Like, how can I just randomly believe that? You know?
Well, we're not actually asking you to believe that when you're falling from an airplane that much different is going to happen other than that you are going to move quickly and directly to the crash site. Because your understanding of your laws of physics are such. But the reason that we continually tell that story is because we want more than all of the things that we desire as we visit with you, with all of you. We want you to stop struggling when you're in the midst of negative momentum, because the struggle only adds power to the negative momentum.
And see, I understand that when I'm in the middle of negative emotion, I understand that if I pick something better, that it's good for me to pick a better disc. But
you can't, can
right.
you? You can't. And that's the point that we're wanting to make. We want you to understand that that thought is going to play itself out most likely. And it's okay. But you have then other opportunities when you're not in that negative momentum to start positive momentum. So our message really is about not trying to control negative momentum, but wanting to perpetuate positive momentum. And if you say that and mean it often enough, then the negative momentum happens, you don't add power to it. Negative momentum happens, you don't add power to it. You observe something that makes you feel bad, you don't add power to it. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone where there was a disagreement and it became more and more disagreeable and you just couldn't shut up? And everything you say just makes it worse. You can't stop yourself, and you know it. You know that you should stop. You know that you should walk away, but you don't. You keep going in for more, going in for more. Well, that's what we're talking about no longer doing. Recognizing earlier on in the process that there is negative momentum and that trying to do something about it isn't helpful. Now, in the beginning of our conversation with all of you, years ago, we talked about pivoting. When you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. So in the early stages of a thought of what I don't want, you could say, well, I know what I don't want. What is it that I do want? And if you catch it early enough, then you can pivot into that. But if it's been going and going and going and going and going, law of attraction is not going to bring you thoughts of what you do want. It's only going to continue to bring you more thoughts of what you don't want. So your goal is to disengage from it, to disengage as quickly as you can. So the tools that we've offered are distraction, meditation, take a nap, but mostly what we want to say to all of you, and it's this new thing that we are emphasizing these days, is just don't be mad at yourself about it. Don't use it as a reason to club yourself over the head. Instead say, wait, this is the natural law of attraction. I've clearly got some momentum going that I didn't mean to get going. I watched that television program and then I talked to my friends about it and I got the momentum going, and I accept that I got the momentum going, and I'm not a bad person because the momentum's going. Law of attraction is the reason that the momentum is going, but I've got more choices than I have been deliberately taking. I don't have to keep engaging in this, and I do have to engage in it right now because the momentum's going, but I'm going to do my best to distract myself. I'm falling out of the airplane, I'm going to hit the ground, and that'll be the end of this. And when I wake up in the morning, it's my intention to start in a better feeling place. And as each morning you wake up, you reach for the higher thought, and each morning you wake up, you reach for the higher thought. That's what we mean by getting out ahead of the manifestation. We've been saying to you for a while that there are two ways of knowing what the momentum is. One is the way you're feeling. and the other is what manifests as a result of it. Well, once a manifestation has happened, there's pretty strong momentum going. And a manifestation could be a bodily condition, a manifestation could be a conversation you're having, a manifestation could even be the thoughts that are moving in your mind, the ideas that are coming. We don't want you to panic over what's going on with your point of attraction. We want you to adore it and accept it and understand it and guide it. That's all. Just guide it. I can do better than I'm doing right now, but no big deal, because the truth of it is, if you didn't know what you don't want, you wouldn't know what you do want. So isn't having some negative momentum helpful in helping you to know that you want some positive momentum? Haven't you ever had an experience that it just went on and on long enough until finally you say, that's it. That's just it. That's as far as I'm going to go with this. So you define that you want something different, and then you just do your best. That's all we're asking. You just do your best.
I hear that you talk many times about just the grandness of our vortex, the infinite nature of our vortex. And I get that, especially when I see like the beauty in nature, or it just resonates with me. I get it. I understand that there is the hands in the clay, and then there is this aspect of source that's just making it so beautiful or so great, and our capabilities are there.
Sometimes you do get it. That's when you're feeling those moments of appreciation. Sometimes you're not letting yourself get it. That's when you feel discouraged and like you've had enough contrast. So sometimes you're getting it, and sometimes you're not getting it.
But I feel that grandness is so distant from where I am.
Well, sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. When you practice deliberately the allowing or the resonance with that which is source, one of the things, let's start at another place, because this was a new practiced realization for Esther. She was like you, conceptually understanding it, but she discovered a new hands-on, more consistent recognition of it once Jerry made his transition into non-physical. So she's sitting and editing. Now this was an experience that she's had for years. And Jerry was in the other end of the bus or in the other end of the house, and they're working together and weaving in and out of one another's day, but mostly doing their own things, sort of rooting for each other, whatever they were doing, and then coming together through the day for different things, but mostly having singular experiences while in the presence of one another. So then Jerry made his transition into non-physical, and for quite a while, Esther's awareness of where he wasn't was so dominant that her missing of him was severe. And then through listening to the recordings that we were offering and through her own application of things that she's been hearing from us, she stumbled across a realization that not only was Jerry, even though he is non-physically focused, was he not gone, but he was more present than he had ever been. That while his attention upon Esther and the work that they were doing together was divided when he was in his physical body, now his focus is not divided by any resistance of his own. Pure, powerful focus that when Esther allowed herself to stop missing him, she hooked up with a presence of him, a consciousness of him, his awareness of her and her awareness of him that was far beyond anything that she'd ever experienced when he was physically focused. So the result of it, and you have this experience all the time, it was the one that you were describing when you first sat down. The result of that is that when she's editing, she has editing, meaning listening back to the sound files, removing some of the coughs and whiskers and annoying aspects, and choosing the track titles that best represent in very few words what this segment is about and what this segment is about, she realized that she had a presence, a consciousness, a knowing that she knew was not her own. So then she began to realize that since he's always there. Now, Jerry, in this case, is representing the whole of what non-physical is, because we're all there. Always there. And when Esther is vibrationally up to speed with it, the clarity, the feeling of exhilaration, the feeling of all is wellness is indescribable. But that same constant presence of him, when she is not there, feels like grief or missing or lonely. And she began realizing, it was such a wonderful realization, that because she thought, and so did you, she thought that when he was there, she felt his presence, and when he was not there, she felt his absence. But there's no there and not there. Source is always there. You're the one allowing it or disallowing it. You're the one jumping on the disc that allows the full revelation of it or the not revelation of it. Does that make some sense to you? We want you to feel the fullness of Source in your moment. And we want you to realize that because Source is right there with you in your moments, that when you are vibrationally up to speed with it, that's when the world is bright and beautiful. That's when your appreciation of the specifics of this physical, tangible, manifested world is at its greatest, you see. So you can't separate yourself from that which is non-physical.
That was my next question. There is no separation. So
there is no separation, but there is a perception of separation when from time to time you find a block of thought that puts you on a disc that doesn't allow you the full connection and realization and resonance with it.
Okay.
Don't you love knowing that? It's all about what you've chosen, but Source is always there for you, always there for you, always there for you.